Welcome to the Creators Origin Podcast, where actors, creators, and leaders in the Atlanta filmmaking industry tell their stories. We're here to cut through the fluff and get down and dirty with the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with success in the industry. I'm here with my guest today, Rachel Paige.
Hi!
Well. If it isn't you and if it isn't me.
Again, here we are.
Now I've got you just where I want you.
Yes.
Rachel is a phenomenal actress. We've worked together since my first...
For like 4 years.
For my first film,
Yeah.
Parte Diem. I've got 3 total. You've been in all of them. You've gotten increasingly...
Somehow.
Yep, somehow
I weasel my way in.
Against all odds, you stuck around.
I have. Yeah. I really have.
We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had so many experiences together here, and we'll at this point you've become just kind of an integral part of my team. But you are a phenomenal actress. You are very successful, at least in what we do, and that's kind of what I wanted to have you on. We met initially in what was Jeff's acting class.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember noticing, like, okay, there's something special about this girl. I just knew right from. So now people are like, why are you glazing this girl?
No, it's so sweet.
But I picked up on it, and I think it's what's so important with going to different classes or sets is picking out who's the people. Hey, I should connect with that person. That could be a long-term connection that could work on projects. What has it been like for you over the years seeing our work develop together from, we started at Parte Diem. It was this comedy, shits and giggles kind of one location thing, all the way up to now we're working on sci-fi, time travel, drama features together. What has that been like over the last 3 years?
Couple years.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool to see like the people who were there, part of your first work, Parte Diem. It's cool to see who is part of that. And then, just as time goes on, other people who become part of the team and just like vital really to the production. I also was thinking about this. It's funny how Gio was in Parte Diem, and then I hadn't seen him for years, and now he's living in your condo. Like, it's just so crazy to me how, like, friends and people in this industry, like, you don't just see them once. Like, you're going to see them again and again through years, through different productions, through friends, through class. Like, people stick around,
It's not that big of a world.
It's really not.
Especially in our industry, and it's why it's so important. Why I've learned to, try not to burn bridges. Is like, there are certain points where you do just need to say, well, it's not working with this person.
Yeah, and move on.
But you also can do that in silence. Mm-hmm. So you don't necessarily need to make like declarations of.
Right. You don't have to say, hey, by the way, I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
Fuck you. I'm done with you. And then it's like, well, now you've burned that bridge. So what happens when you do run into them on set? Mm-hmm. You do need to work with them, or God forbid you need something from them.
Right. Like, you need a roof over your head, whatever it is. No, I totally get that.
And so, it's these challenges of working with people, balancing that personal, professional, and we've had to have kind of a few different conversations over the years of understanding that balance, understanding where we're at.
Right.
But you, and part of the reason I wanted to have you on here is you have been such a good inspiration or in my progress as a director and as a leader. Because we did not always get along.
No, we did not always get along. Like, let's put that out there now. We've had really fun, easy times. We've also had harder times where it's like our friendship is changing or evolving, we're maturing, whatever it is. And I think that, like, I remember the first time that we had to have like a harder conversation and be like, where are we at right now as far as friendship and working professionally?
Where are our boundaries?
Right. And I think that having both parties wanting to come to a conclusion, like you feeling like, hey, something's off, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like this or that. It's you wanting to have a conversation and hear me out, and it's me wanting to say my piece and wanting to hear you out. And then it's like, if you have that common goal of, I want to hear you out and I want you to feel understood as well, then you can move on and you can say, okay, moving forward, X, Y, and Z, this is how we're going to operate. And so we've had that a couple of times, and I think that is just two mature people who have the same goal. We both want to be really successful. We both want anything you're a part of or I'm part of, I want it to do really well. And so I think when you have that goal and it's like we're in the same career, you know, it's like we both just want the best.
Yeah. And I
it's
think
going to work. Like, it's going to be okay.
And I think understanding your motivations was very key for me, and being able to drop my ego and understanding, you know, I was in quite a rough spot after the filming of Against All Odds, and I was grappling with who can I trust, what, you know, why am I having these issues with this person, and at a certain point I had to look inwards and say, well, you know, it's something, it's got to be something I'm doing. If I'm having,
You're like,
who's the common denominator?
yeah.
And ultimately what it came down to is like, I just need someone to tell me to my face what is going on here. And we had a conversation, and when I tell this story to people because it always stands out to me. It's kind of funny. It's kind
God.
of, but
like, what did I say?
we had this conversation. We sat down, and I was like, what's going on? Do you want to be part of this? Do you like, I'm hearing these whispers of this and that. And you dead looked me in the eye, and you were like, I don't respect you as an actor, director, or as a person. And I was like, and that's exactly why I need you on my team.
I literally thought there's a good chance that he's never going to talk to me again, and I totally respect that. That nobody really wants to hear that. So I was like, if at the end of the day, if I'm going to be anything, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And again, it's like you carved out time to be like, hey, I want to meet. We need to talk. We need to have a conversation. And so we did. And so it's like, for all this effort and time it takes for us to come together with our crazy schedules, and you were living in Nashville at the time, it's like, we're going to have this conversation. We're adults. No one needs to tiptoe or sugarcoat. Just, I'm always going to say how it is. And if someone asks me my opinion, I'm going to say, well, do you want me to be nice or do you want me to be honest?
Yeah. And the, you know, balls it took to look me in the eye and to say in my face, I really was like, you know, I feel like that's something, you've seen this trope in the guy who's like getting an interview and he starts like talking shit and he's like, and I fucking hate this and this shit. And then the boss is like, I like your cojones.
Yes,
I want you to. I feel like that's what it kind of was like. I was like, this, as much as that stings, I'm like, this is who I need on my team. Someone who looks me in the eye and tells me these things. And because, you know, the one thing that drove me crazy, it's like, I didn't mind anyone telling me to my face certain things, but it drove me crazy hearing it from other people. And hearing, okay, this person is saying X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I just want them to say direct. So
right, just be direct.
So when that happened, I was like, all right, this is someone special. I need to take this into account. And how do I, instead of saying, okay, well, fuck you,
which is what I knew. I was like, it's either going to go this way or that way, and there's a very good chance that it's not going to end well, and like, that's that.
And I was in the right state of mind where I said, I need to look internally and say, how do I earn that respect? How do I turn that around? What do I need to change about what I'm doing? And it's developed into, like, I think we've got a much stronger professional and personal relationship.
I totally agree. I remember like leaving that conversation feeling like, one, I totally understand if you recast my character and never want to speak to me again, like totally valid. I understand that. But also I remember feeling like almost this weight lift off my shoulders of like, well, he knows that I'm honest and I'm going to say what I feel and what I think. And like, it almost felt freeing to be like, I can give my opinion. If you ask for my opinion, you know I'm going to give it to you, you know?
And this leads very cleanly into the very opposite example, where, have I told you the story of the moment I decided I was never going to work with my business partner again?
No.
So I was, as against all odds, there were some ups, there were some downs.
Yeah.
But the moment I decided I would never work with my business partner again was when I was editing the film. And when you pull in files, you pull in your video files and you pull in your audio files and you sync them up. And, when, we go cut and the video file stops. But what I noticed was, wait a minute, some of these audio files are going much
really
are going much longer than the video files. What's going on there? And I started listening to after cut. And what I realized was that my sound guy had left the mics running intentionally, what I found, because he wanted me to hear what was being said.
Right.
And there are, a dozen audio files that I've got saved on a folder somewhere that will never see the light of day, that were for my ears only, that when I heard them, I was like, what is being said to my face is very different to what is being said behind the scenes. And that was the moment I was like, I'll never be working with this person again.
No, because then you can't take their word for anything. Whether it's good feedback or bad, you're going to be thinking the whole time, what are they actually thinking? Damn.
Yeah. No, I mean, and
that would break my heart.
Well, it's like, what is it? It's like one of those superpower questions. Like, oh, would you want to be able to hear what people are? It's like all of a sudden I've got superpower hearing what people are saying when I'm not in the room.
Like internal. It's like, would you want to always know what people are thinking?
Or
and you literally.
Or invisibility. Whenever people ask you what superpower you want, you say invisibility. That's how you know someone's a creep when they say
right.
But they're like,
invisible.
But I'm like, to be in that room when someone doesn't know you're there.
Wow.
It was so surreal. It was a really mind-blowing experience. But
and then you can't really look at that person the same anymore.
No.
Because it's like, no matter what, you're going to have that in the back of your mind.
Right. Exactly. But
it kind of feels like that probably happened at like the right time then, if like Against All Odds wrapped up. Because if that happened, if you were like editing, or if you heard any of that during filming, I mean, that would be so fucking hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of like, I did hear little whispers, some stuff like that, but it wasn't until then that I got real. It's like, this is confirmation. This is not just hearsay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, tough conversations, how our conversation made me a better leader. I think the other thing that really made the whole process of filming a lot stronger was getting my actors involved in the creative process.
That was so fun. All the table reads, like that was really cool.
We did a lot of table reads. We did a lot of script analysis. And this is super important for, some actors don't. They don't want to, they're not that bothered to be involved. But
they just want to show up.
But I always like to give the option for actors say, hey, do you want to get involved with your character here? Do you want to help with some of these decisions? Does this make sense what this character is saying? And you took a lot of ownership over Jocelyn. It's a character you've played on and off for a couple, 2-3 years now.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah.
Have you experienced that on any other sets where you've been able to kind of have that level of power over your character? Is there any other examples of that?
I'm trying to think. The last project that I worked on is still like in the process of filming. It's kind of like spread out. Think.
What was it? What was that experience like playing Jocelyn and really being able to own that character from start to finish?
It was cool to see how she develops, because really in Try That Again, you're kind of just like, why does he like her so much? So it felt like the part 2, Against All Odds, was like my chance to show different qualities of her. Like, but why? Why is he trying so hard? Why is he fighting for her? Like, she has to be well liked and like a well-rounded person. And so I think I just wanted to do that justice. Like I wanted to build her and not just be some girl who's just confused all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of show like tender moments or like she's hurt or that, I guess. Does that even answer the question?
Yeah, sure.
You're like, so once again.
So I mean, what is your you know, a lot of actors have different methods. You know, some people even like hearing method. They're like, ugh, they don't even like hearing that word. But
Yeah, but it's not as like crazy. I mean, some roles are really,
yeah,
yeah, but some aren't.
do you have any like fill me in on your process as you're prepping? Because I know you've mentioned before, I've got my very specific, like as I'm prepping for the day, I'm going into
Right.
a role. Like tell me a little bit about that. What is that process like for you?
Let's see. So I definitely start with, I like having a printed copy of a script, and I've actually found that like having a full binder and like 3 hole punching every sheet of paper and just like having it physically makes it way easier for me. And I know that as soon as I know my lines, it makes it easier to find more freedom in anything I'm saying. And then once I have the lines down, and if I'm rehearsing with, myself and like recording myself on voice memos to like go through the script, or if it's with Avery or if it's with another actor, I find like so many different inflections. And then I find like sometimes I'll have to ask who I'm working with, like, hey, I really need you to kind of say it like this to justify why this is my reaction. Because like once you know the lines, you have so much freedom with it. So my process is definitely lines first, which I don't know if there's like a right or wrong way to do it, but that's how I do it. And then um, I think I find a lot of my character through like context clues throughout the script. So I'll like highlight or underline certain things that other people say about my character in different colors. And that tells me a lot
Mm.
about who my character is and how other people see her.
So even like in different scenes, you can
Yes.
saying
Like scenes that I'm not even in, I'll
right.
underline any part that mentions my character. And then that helps me think, like, okay, well, she's clearly a very trusted person or she's not, whatever it is. And so it kind of helps me figure out um, like how my character should feel.
Do you have it, what do you think of like when you hear about Jared Leto and he's like getting into the role of the Joker and he's sending, you know, dead rats to his castmates? This is something you haven't heard before. I take it by your
No, and
face.
I'm honestly gonna say I don't know names to save my life. So you said Jared
Jared Leto, he
Leto.
played like the Joker in Suicide Squad.
See, I've
Like,
never seen those movies.
okay,
So
but you know the
you
character, the Joker.
kind of
He's
like
like,
I've seen it.
wow, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he would apparently send dead rats to his castmates or stuff to like, cause I'm the Joker and I'm crazy.
Kind of feels like a waste of money. Like you have to pay someone to do
Yeah. I mean, is there any, obviously not that. You never sent me anything weird on the mail as just,
Not yet.
but is there anything like that method wise of getting into character that does anything like that, doing something within character, or how would this character do
No.
this? Nothing like that.
No. I think if anything, if I have like a really hard scene that I'm getting into, if it's like very emotionally driven, I'll kind of just be like I'll go to whoever's miking me up or whoever's like around me. I'm like, just so you guys know, I'm getting into character. I'm not being a bitch. Like I need to like,
Don't talk to me.
yeah, I'm like I need
It's
to
kind of
like
like don't talk to me
disconnect.
before I had my coffee vibes. It's like,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm like, don't take it personally. Like I'm not mean. I just
Mhm.
like I can't be thinking. I can't take the time to like be Rachel right now. Like I have to be this other
Yeah.
person. So just
Yeah.
like I'm not being cold to be cold.
And you had a scene in our last film that where you know came to tears. It was in one of the final scenes of the film.
Yeah.
Um, is there any process to that you can give as like tips for people how you achieve that? Like what do you pull in that moment
Right.
that allows you to get there?
I'm a very emotional person.
Mm-hmm.
Mediums and psychics have told me this. Like,
Okay.
and I know it. Like my emotions sit like right here. Um, so it's really easy for me to pull emotions. Um, And I think I just have like a very I guess like a vivid imagination. Like I like see everything. Like if you're like you told me about Jared Leto who like sent rats to all his coworkers, whatever. I literally am like, as you're saying that, I'm like visualizing it.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, when I'm in a scene and no matter what it's about, I'll kind of like if we're doing a scene, I'm like I'm not looking at Jack. Maybe I'm looking at my mom,
Mm.
and so that's kind of how I see it. And I'll take the whole context, whatever's happening, and I'll make it my own. So at the end, you still like see that same emotion, but I'm not sad about what's I'm not like I'm not pulling from like what's on the paper. I'm using like I'm in like a very different place in my head.
Yeah.
So I
Gotcha.
tend to do that.
Yeah.
And again, like knowing my lines makes it easy to like say them and I'm not even saying them for the intention of like what's on the paper. I'm saying it for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, I'm just a very emotional person. Avery can attest to that.
Yeah. You got to be a little bit you got to be a little bit crazy to be an actor. You got to be pretty emotional. You got to be a little bit unhinged.
I tell Avery, I'm like, here come all 17 personalities in full swing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember one of the things that we learned in our acting class was Jeff would talk about.
I think I know what you're about to say, but say it. I want to see.
He would say about how when you have some kind of experience outside of whatever, if your girlfriend just broke up with you, and you're feeling sad, think in that moment how you could use it for your acting. Like,
oh my gosh, yes, or, I remember that.
If your dog just got run over, feel like, oh, I'm so sad. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it in my body?
He's like almost like download how you're feeling.
Yes,
like
to use for later.
Yes, if you're sick or whatever is happening. And sometimes I'll catch myself being like, oh, I'm fucking pissed. And then I'll be like, yeah, I am. I'm like, I'm like, so how are my hands? Yeah. Are my toes like curled? Like, what's my body doing?
Which is so interesting. If you actually download it and save it for later. It's a little bit psychopathic, especially the person who you're yelling at. They see you start to process and like what the hell are you doing? I thought we were having an argument.
Can we take 5? I need to download this real quick.
That's interesting. What was the thing you were thinking I was going to say from
I was
Jeff's
thinking,
class?
He would say like if you're sad about your dog dying, and if you have a scene where you need to like pull emotion from like that, don't think of your dead dog. Think about all the things your dog did when he was alive that you loved. So in turn, it's like, don't think about when your boyfriend broke up with you or when your girlfriend broke up with you. Think about like every other moment that made you like love them.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I thought we were going with
this. But also good advice.
Yeah.
Very nice. What do you find is like what's distracting to you while you're trying to act? Like what do you need in order to what's my question? What do you need to do in order to zero everything else out in order to kind of be there in the moment?
That's a good question. It's really hard to like sometimes I think it depends on like what the set is like. Because sometimes I'm able to just like be that person and be in the moment, but other times I'm thinking like, oh, like where's the camera coming from? How's the lighting? Like I'll kind of start.
When's lunch?
Yeah, I'll start thinking like technical things. I need to be like, Rachel, that's not your job. Like your job isn't to make sure we're running on time. Your job isn't that. Like just show up.
There's a phrase I remember you used that stuck with me. You said, "It's not my circus."
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I have to remind myself, it's not my circus. These are not my monkeys.
All this stuff.
It's not my job.
that what I maybe what can I say instead of monkeys? But yeah, it's not my circus. All these things that are going on. Hey, this problem. John's got mustard on his face.
If someone's running late or if hair and makeup, it's not working. I remember we were trying to like do something on our palms and it just like, it wasn't working. And I just need to remember, like, I almost had to like take a step back and be like, this isn't your problem to fix.
Yeah, and you can put like, oh, hey, maybe like I possibly have a solution here that I can propose, but it's not your responsibility. It's you've got your own work to do. You've got your own process, and you shouldn't let any of that take away from that.
And I also felt like, I think sometimes I feel like it's not my place, even if like it's not my place to give another option.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, they don't like just like let them handle it. Like they don't want to hear it. Like
yeah.
just leave it.
Well, here's the only other thing I would say about that is that, especially when I'm, when I've had the people around for a long time who are part of my like tree, kind of as I refer to it, who are solid branches, have been with me a long time, I almost sometimes rely on them a little bit more than in that role they are. Like you being
Mm,
there as an actress, and it's like I almost hope someone who's been around that long would be able to kind of submit, Jack, are you sure about this? Like
right.
and I know that's obviously it's not your job to do it, but I find that really helpful, especially someone who's been around that long and knows me and is able to maybe snap me out of something that's going on with me.
I
Um,
think definitely like going back to the last like hard conversation we had, after that, I really felt like I could.
mm,
I felt like, and I think every set is different, you know, but I think moving forward, like if I have an opinion, I could give it.
yeah,
Or I would just wait for you to be like, what do you think? And I'd be
yeah,
like, well, do you want me to be nice or do you want me to be honest?
yeah.
And then I
Just a little nice.
yeah,
Just a
yeah,
little
yeah. You're
nice.
like so just like not
Yeah.
mean, but like
But as a director and a leader, it's my responsibility to craft that environment where my actors and my AD and my sound guy and my whoever, like they all feel comfortable and safe being able to express that opinion. More
yeah.
so if they've been around for a long time. But if they're feeling like, oh, I don't think I should, I don't if they say
Yeah.
anything, that's obviously something because haven't crafted that environment yet.
I think that this next process of filming is going to be so fun. And like
Hmm.
I was so excited about filming Against All Odds as well, but like filming this one I think is going to be so fun and you and I are in such a different place now that I feel like it's just going to be great.
I see potentially as you coming on and being more very involved in scenes that you're not in some way, some kind of potential co-director role or something, getting or
I would love that.
I could see you being familiar with the characters and knowing the world enough that you could really potentially shine there. Um, we're gonna have
I could shine. I'll take it.
we're gonna have this one's gonna be a much bigger budget, much bigger world. As you know, you've seen the
Yes.
story elements. There's
Yeah.
a lot to it, and I'm not gonna be able to get by on a shoestring budget like I have the last couple. It was tough. It was stretching it on that last one.
I don't even want to know. Like I don't even want to know. I can't imagine.
Well, I talked to Anthony James about this a couple sessions ago, but I put a lot of my own money into that. I had to like live out of my car, like do all these things. Like there's
Oh
certain
my
things, there's
gosh.
certain sacrifice, and it's not like a sob story, like oh boo hoo, poor me. Those are choices that I made,
Right.
but it's these. I was like, one way or another, I'm gonna make this film happen. I'm gonna how much money I have to put into it.
Yeah.
But this next one is such a bigger scale. I'm like, I can't pull all that weight on my own. It's got to
Right.
be, we're get on these sponsors, get on, and we've got enough of a world now that I think we'll have the capability to do that. That people are able to see the vision, people are to see what this has potential to be.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Hmm.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I am.
What do you see as far as Jocelyn goes? We can get like in spoiler territory now
Yeah.
for people who have seen the film, but what do you hope to see from her arc in the next couple of films?
Um, I think I hope to see like at this point she's aware of everything and
Hmm.
she's on board and she's like I think to her it's like the only way out is through. She's
Hmm.
like we have to like get through this.
Hmm.
And so I'm excited to see her take some like leadership roles.
Roles
is that the right
is a word.
is
Yeah.
that the right thing to say? Like some I want her to have the instinct. No, that's not the right word. I want her to have leadership. And I want her to be like, this is what we're doing. Because like not the whole, but most of Against All Odds is her kind of like just going with it. And so I'm excited to see her
And going,
take
I want answers. What's
leadership.
going on here?
Yeah.
What's that? Who's that? Who are
Yeah.
you?
Literally.
And having her be a little bit more, I large and in charge, I think would be a
Yes.
nice development for her character.
Yeah.
Especially with everything that's going to be coming at her. At least she's now more aware of it.
Like she'll take the initiative, I think.
We saw, a little bit of, her brother coming back, which is which should be interesting. Her brother she hasn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So I like the idea, those emotional arcs that are coming for her.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too.
Well, thank you so much for coming and being my guest here, Rachel.
Jack, thank you. I feel like I was on Good Morning America. I really do.
I learned so much about you. and I'm sure everyone else showed you for who you really are.
Yes.
If you would like to book this space for your own content creation, you can do so at creators-origin.com/space. If you would like to be a featured guest on this podcast, please DM the Creators Origin Instagram page, and we'll see if we can get you on the schedule. Thanks so much, and have a great week.